Hello, I'm Marcus Taylor, and today we have a panel to discuss Black History Month and AAPN. I am the Windshield COE lead. I'm here in Milwaukee, and I've been at Rockwell for about 15 years, so I'm going to let my other distinguished panelists introduce themselves now, so I'm going to start here with Carlos.
All right, thank you, Marcus. Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos Mejia. I've been with Rockwell for over 10 years, also located here in the Milwaukee location. I'm a proud member of the Latino Professional Network and also a proud member of the African American Professional Network. I'm also part of the ISC group.
All right, so Eloise.
Hi, I'm Eloise Henry. I'm a security process engineer for the test verification group. I'm a member of AAPN. I've been with Rockwell also for 3 years, but I'm also a member of PwC and one other. Oh, sweet.
And last but not least, Barb.
My name is Barb Schouwe-Darville. I am located at the Mayfield Heights location. I've been with Rockwell for a little over 12 years. My position is Administrative Service Supervisor for Northeast Ohio. And I am a member of AAPN, Cleveland.
So I'm going to ask everyone why they're a member of AAPN. I'll start with myself. I'm a member of AAPN. It was important for me at the very beginning, even in the interview process, to find out about AAPN, to really know if AAPN existed. So I came right into Rockwell Automation. One of the reasons I came here was because we had AAPN and got active. So a lot of times, for me, AAPN has been a safe harbor, a place to meet people like myself, discuss ideas, learn about opportunities, and be able to be a leader. So, and also really do work in the community. So it really helped me get connected when I moved to Milwaukee. So, how about you, Carlos?
What interested me to be part of the AAPN, it's as my identity being an Afro-Caribbean, having African background. It is part of my family, part of my heritage, and also me myself being raised in in Milwaukee, in the south side of Milwaukee, and having that integrated racial backgrounds between Hispanics and blacks and so on. So I'm pretty close in that sense. But also the benefits as being part of the AAPN. We have, as you mentioned, being part of the community. We reach out there, being mentors to our young students, which AAPN hosts as well. So I'm extremely proud to be part of that as well. So in the events that throughout the whole year are also hosted by AAPN, it only helps myself that help others. So that's why I'm part of AAPN.
All right, so Eloise.
I'm part of AAPN because of the camaraderie, the opportunity to work with other people that I probably would never have the opportunity to work with or meet, and to work on projects that I ordinarily would not do in my current role.
How about you, Barb?
Why am I a member of AAPN? Why not? It's a great our Rockwell group that promotes Black culture, educates employees about the Black culture and the accomplishments that they have accomplished. It also allows me to network with other employees that I wouldn't have normally had the opportunity. And I identify with African Americans being an Afro-Latina.
That is a very interesting tie-in because one of the things I think that AAPN does well is brings different cultures together. So, Black people are not a monolith. Mm-hmm. So there are lots of cultures in our own community, but we also get a chance to bring other people into our culture and learn from them. So, I'd like to start with both Barb and Carlos to talk about the duality of your culture and how that kind of ties in with AAPN and how AAPN helps support you in those aspects. So, So Barb, we'll start with you.
So, being Afro-Latina, my family are from the Dominican Republic. Our history is divided in three. It is the Africans that came in the slave ships, the Tainos that are native Indian that were on the island, and then the Spaniards that came. So those three consist of who we identify with. Therefore, that's why I have interest in African American culture.
How about you, Carlos?
Well, as Barb mentioned, I myself also being an Afro-Caribbean, actually from my father's side, we are Garifunas, which are the Africans that were taken to the Caribbean islands like St. Vincent Islands, then later were taken to Honduras. So that's part of my African side, and also from, as Barb mentioned, the Puerto Rican side will be the Tainos, the African, and the Spaniards. So on both sides, I share that African heritage. How does that play out? And it's interesting you mentioned that, because being as Afro-Caribbean and being part of two ERG groups, the Latino Professional Network and the African American Professional Network, allows me to use that as a connection between the two ERGs and collaborate together, right? So I think we could use that to an advantage where we could actually feed them both, right? As a Spanish-speaking language person, but also as sharing the rich African culture as well.
I also think that being a part of this ERG gives us an opportunity to reach out and partner with other ERGs. We partner with several other ERGs in different events. So I think being able to learn from each other and connect with each other is a part of AAPN. I think we started to touch on AAPN's role, but I think overall ERGs have an important role here at Rockwell Automation. So I know myself, I'm also part of several different ERGs, and each one of them brings something slightly different. AAPN gives me visibility to leadership, gives me opportunities to do some work in the community and share with my counterparts kind of who I am. But I think I get an opportunity to learn a lot of stuff from a lot of the different ERGs. One of the things I like to attend is the tech conference that's put on by SWE. So I do that. I've been doing that for several years, and I always learn a lot. But I think being a part of an ERG at Rockwell helps you get connected in a lot of different ways, and not only being a part of AAPN, but there's a community within the ERGs that is pretty tight-knit. So, Carlos, you talked about how we can use our culture to bridge into different ERGs, but I'd like maybe Eloise or Barb to talk about how being a part of ERGs in general helps us at Rockwell Automation. So, Barb or Eloise, how do you feel about ERGs in general, and how does that help you at Rockwell?
Well, with RAGs, when I present to employees to invite them to be a member, I present it in three parts. One part is they get the opportunity to learn the culture, to educate other employees. The second part is the business part, which allows them to learn leadership, learn how to budget, how to take a project from the beginning to the end. It allows them to network with other employees within the organization, but in different ERG groups. It also gives them an opportunity to have a mentor, someone that may have the similar background as they do, and guide them throughout their career or personal. So that's the way I presented it to employees.
What about you, Eloise?
I see the ERGs providing us the opportunity to interact with different cultures, and we also will learn from each other. And that's what I've been getting out of it. It's like when we're interacting, I'm learning from them, they're learning from me.
Excellent. So I want to quickly go into, why do we celebrate Black History Month?
I celebrate to respect and honor those before us in history that sacrificed with their bravery, their achievement, and paved the way for us to be able to, as simple as vote, go to school, have a profession. So to me, it's important for Black History Month to educate our employees and do it in a fun, outside the box, for them to learn all the sacrifice that other African Americans in the past have done for us.
Eloise?
Pretty much what Barb said, and I will also say that I celebrate to acknowledge the struggles and the triumphs, as Carlos said, of this country, which is the establishment of the foundation for which we are able to achieve what we have and we do today in our professional and personal lives.
So I know what Carlos is going to say about this one. What are some of the most memorable events of past Black History Months? So I'll start with you, Carlos.
Well, the most memorable that I could right now, which I'm proud of, and I'll take the time to brag, if I could say that, it's the Jeopardy! Bowl that is hosted by the African American Professional Network. I was proud to be captain of the Bad Bunnies group last year, and we won. But not, I mean, we won. It sounds easy to say we won, but what it took to get there, it's a lot of learning, right? You are going into history, present, in the past, and the future, and seeing, okay, this is what has been contributed by African Americans, what has been done, with the struggles they went through. And so you are learning as you're memorizing, you are researching as well to memorize, and of course win. So that's my most memorable event that I have. It's a very fun event. It's open to everyone, and it's a collaboration, right? So that's my most memorable.
What about you, Eloise?
It's always the Jeopardy! Bowl. Like Carlos says, it's a lot of fun, and it's interactive, and it's competitive, and it's educational. And of course, I get to work with you and Pam and the team to make this happen. So I just love it because, like you guys said, very informative, but it can also be very competitive.
Yes. What about you, Barb?
Well, we have done several different activities, such as the Jeopardy! Bowl and Jazz on the Lawn and other lunch and learns. But the one that hit me was one lunch and learn that we did, and it was a Negro spiritual, and we had a pastor and a band, and the band sung the songs, and the pastor explained what the songs were, and it went through the early parts up to like the 60s or almost the 80s. And the songs explain what, at that time, what African Americans were going through. Or like some of the songs which was telling the slaves how to get to freedom. It was like a map. And so a lot of employees related, and they learned, and they did understand that how powerful music is in the African American culture, but also the struggles that they went through. So that one was more powerful for me.
Sounds really good too.
Yeah, I think for me, because I've been through so many of these now, it's hard for me to pick a favorite. But if I said I had to pick an event that I really always look forward to, I think for me it's the finale. Because that's usually the time when everybody gets together and, when we have it in person, there's food, there's executives, we get to kind of celebrate the whole month. So I always really look forward to that event because that really is a big culmination of the month. You have so many people that come and talking about the different things they've learned or the different events that really impacted them. So that's always the event I look forward to every year. So for me, I would say it's the finale event because we announced the Jeopardy winner. So you kind of get a full flavor of what that month and the impact is.
Yep. And I like to add also in the some of the previous African American events throughout the Black History Month is the collaboration between the AAPN and all the ERGs as well, right?
Yep.
Where there were been some sessions, some workshops that we met with leadership on how to improve ourselves, right, within our personality developments, and then use that in our current roles. So that's also a good benefit as well as part of the Black History Month and AAPN.
Let's talk about how Black History Month impacts the culture of the company. I know for me, when I first started, I think a lot of people looked at it as just kind of that celebration of Black History Month we used it one day, it was centered around food. People wanted to come and eat and say, Happy Black History Month and go. And we've evolved that to a month worth of programming with a lot of work from a lot of different people, both in Cleveland and here in Milwaukee. And being able to have people now come up and ask you in June about what's Jeopardy going to be like next year is a big change. People who have come in and said how they have really got something out of a lunch and learn that we had in Black History Month. That's a big change, just based on the attendance, where it was mostly the Black employees coming to the stuff at the beginning. We have different allies showing up to all events. I know personally that I have people who are managers that are already asking what's going to happen in the month so they know how to promote it in their different team meetings to encourage their employees to go. So I just think that's a big change. What changes have you seen, Carlos?
From in the culture, the value that it brings, I mean, it's invaluable. First of all, I'd like to thank all the AAPN leadership because we talk about all these events, but the coordinating that goes behind it to bring forward that event, it could be stressful and it's complex, right? So I want to give thanks to the AAPN leadership that bring these events. And as you mentioned about the Jeopardy, right, that brings the collaborating of different allies, that, those type of events that are hosted by the AAPN, yes, the allies are included, everyone is included. And then we go into the retention and developing part when we have these sessions that are mostly aimed at the AAPN members, right? So the culture, it has impacted the company by their support, by them promoting it, and we are able to aim both the allies, the general employees, and also our members as well.
So I'm going to go to Barb. How do you see this as shaping the culture of Rockwell Automation?
I like the fact that it makes it more diverse. People are being more informed and educated. And it's just, it feels more inclusive, culturally inclusive.
Eloise?
I like it. I like the celebration, and I think it connects us because it's optional attendance. No, it's not mandatory. And I think because of that, it's why it's heavily supported by our allies. It's informational, and sometimes some of the events are interactive, and very often it's just a lot of very fun events.
So if we think about the theme of Black History Month this year, health and wellness, how does that theme impact you? I know for me, with this current environment being that we're kind of still in this pandemic that everybody thought was going to be really short, but it's grew on. I know that health and wellness is probably more important to me than it has been in previous years. Not to say that I wasn't thinking about it, but I have a little bit more conscious focus on it, especially mental health and making sure I do things that, where I go through these long periods where you are sometimes isolated and feel like you're stuck in these four walls, to do things that keep me just fresh and thinking and moving and getting out of the house every now and then, and as well as physical health. I probably walked more this year than I have ever in my life, just because I got to do something. So I'm curious to see how this theme, it really is going to be impacting you and helping. What do you expect to get out of this year's from this thing?
Sure. For me, it'd be interesting to see what events we take account into the theme for this year. As you mentioned, we are currently under the challenge of this pandemic. In your case, you mentioned that you exercise, work regularly. In my case, I'm pretty close to the refrigerator, so it's a lot more easy access. So for me, it will be, hey, how does I need to come self-aware, and how do I not let this pandemic deteriorate my physical, but also which could also impact your mental. So I'm looking forward to this year's theme and what it encompasses, and how do I apply that in my everyday life, because I really need it.
How about you, Eloise?
Well, with Black health and wellness, what it means to me is a healthy mind, body, and spirit. I feel it's essential to have a balance, as everybody's saying here, in all these areas to be my personal best.
Barb?
I think it's very essential and crucial at this time with everything that's going within our country with the pandemic. It brings awareness for, like, as you guys said, mental health. A lot of people are suffering depression and other illness because of not being able to socialize and other things that are happening. But I think it's also important with some of the health risks that does happen more in the African Americans, such as diabetes, heart pressure, heart issues, especially being Dominican. I know that kind of runs with us, and cooking, making sure that people are cooking more healthier and not how we normally do, which is normally recipes passed down. We just sprinkle a little bit here until our ancestors tell us to say stop. And so I think it will provide people more healthier choices and be more aware of their health.
I think one other thing that I would probably be remiss in not stating is I think for all of us, regardless of who you are, I think the thing that I'm looking forward to is getting some real tips on balance. I know I found myself working more during the pandemic just because typically I don't feel like I have anything else to do. And sometimes it's just, it's easier now for me to roll out of bed and not have that break and stop a little bit later. And just like Eloise alluded to, of having that balance and getting those tips out there to, do things like, hey, I know for me, every hour I try to do 10 minutes of standing or 5 to 15 minutes of walking. Because sitting in one spot all day takes a toll. So I'm looking to find more of those tips to be able to create more balance for myself.
I totally agree with you with that. It's funny that you mentioned it, because I just had a conversation with another employee, and even though I'm now here, I was working from home, and I think like you said, it's easier at home to stay focused, and you lose kind of track of time because you don't have employees stopping like do you have a minute? Which that minute is never a minute, and it's like less interruptions, so you're just in it. Even though you have that flexibility to throw a load of laundry, you're still working, and sometimes it's just easier when you're at work and 5 o'clock comes, you kind of close the laptop, or at home, you're just keep on like, oh, I forgot to do something. And you just tend on keep on working. So that's a good suggestion to like set a timer like every hour or so, the employees just to walk away and have a breather.
So I will say then, if anybody's looking at this video, stay tuned for AAPN and the health and wellness. They're coming in the month of February, right? So it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, so I think lastly, to kind of close things out, I'm going to talk about the importance of DE&I. So I think the importance of DE&I is really not just the representation piece, but learning that everybody's experience is a little bit different and everybody brings value. And that value, it should be not only, recognized, but celebrated and incentivized. So I'd like for each one of us to talk about the importance of DE&I in our company culture and to us. So I'll start with Carlos.
Well, I think it is crucial in order for the innovation part, right, to be inclusive. High diverse social styles, diverse experiences, diverse cultures, have it all integrated into a team that bring forth good results, right? So to me, the DE&I, it's very crucial to the company that we as individual contributors, people managers, executive leaders, we value, consider, and weigh in all the different opinions and ideas of the diverse people that we have in this company, right? Be it ERG or as just an individual team member. So considering all those diverse talents that we have within the company is what's going to drive, our value higher, as a member of the company, but the company itself. The business value will increase, appreciating those differences.
How about you, Barb?
Well, I think when a workplace have incorporated diversity and equality and inclusion, employees tend to feel more included. They feel that they can be themselves and they're more productive. They feel more important, and so they're going to give their all. One of the experiences that I have with Rockwell recently during the whole racial issues that we had when the company stepped up from the CEO, VPs, and trickling down and supported us through that difficult time. That meant value to me because it made me feel supported and that I matter and that we matter to them. My manager during that time actually, we have a good relationship, but he actually reached out to me and asked me, how are you doing with this? Is there something that I can do to help you out? So that makes me want to stay at Rockwell. It makes me feel like it's more family. And so that's important for me.
How about you, Eloise?
I like the part where Barb says that it helps to support us to be ourselves while we're at work. I also believe it supports the awareness that the variety of perspectives contributing to our product life cycle makes a better product, a better company, and our overall feelings toward our job, the people we work with, and the organization as a whole. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think I'd like to kind of conclude us on that note. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this panel. And I look forward to seeing you at Black History Month events. And I'd like to ask that anyone watching this video be sure to come out and join us. You can find a whole list of Black History Month events and activities on the AAPN website, either Milwaukee or Cleveland chapter, and we'd love for you to join us. So thank you very much.